Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge Systems and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy, which is one of the premier institutions in India and it offers examination coaching for UPSC CSC, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level and CLAT examinations. And about me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Tumala and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I take up international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper, that is of today's of 25th of February 2021. And throughout my session, I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases from the Hindu newspaper, which we would be identifying the factual, analytical, and conceptual questions for the UPSC prelims perspective. And while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing for the mains examination, your answers would be precise and concise, and thereby you would score higher marks in the mains examination. So, AKS IAS Academy session of DNA will certainly help you to crack both prelims and mains examination for the year 2021. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we would be focusing at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day says that work hard, dream big, and never give up. Certainly, you will attain success when you work hard, dream big, and never give up. And now we'll get into the DNA of the newspaper, and here we would be looking at the second phase of the vaccine which has been administered in India, and in turn the union government has announced in for the second phase, which will be covered people above 60 years of age and above 45 years with comorbidities. That means the one or the people who have various illness will also be covered above age of 60 years and above 45 from March 1st of 2021. And the union government has estimated that around 27 crore people would be covered in the second phase, which would be starting from the March 1st 2021. And amongst the or within the 27 crore people, around 10 crore people would be around over 60 years of age, wherein the second phase of the Covaxin administration would take up. And this expansion of the vaccination coverage, the government would bring in now in the second phase, even the subgroups. The government would bring in the subgroups so that it wanted to ensure the most vulnerable people in India would also be covered first. Here, the main intention of the government in the second phase is to bring in the subgroups for the expansion of the vaccination group, especially for the vulnerable people, so that even they would be taken into consideration along with the frontline health workers. And the Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that the second phase of vaccination would be provided free at 10,000 government run facilities, and the vaccination would be charged at 20,000 private hospitals. That means there is a sense that the government is ready not only administering the vaccine at the government run facilities but also at the private hospitals, and thereby there could be a possibility in the near future that along with the government there would be private sectors which would be into the action, wherein more number of people would be administered vaccine along with the government and the private sectors. And if you look at the vaccines which are used in India along the second phase and also in the first phase, was that India has approved, that is Drug Controller General of India has approved two vaccines for the emergency use in India, that is Covishield and Covaxin. And Covishield is developed by AstraZeneca and Oxford University, and Covishield, while it is developed by AstraZeneca and Oxford University, it is manufactured by the Serum Institute of India, which is located in Pune, and the Covaxin is being by the Bharat Biotech, which is of India's indigenous manufacturing unit. And on February 24th 2021, Russia Sputnik 5 has also applied for emergency use in India, and thereby now the Drug Controller General of India would be looking into the efficacy rate, which is 91.6%, and also the data collated by the Sputnik 5, and then try to make sure that it is also given the approval for the emergency use. So as of now it is Covishield and Covaxin, but Sputnik 5 has applied for the emergency use in India to the Director Control General of India. And there is another news which is in regards to the child adoption process. So this is a keyword which you need to focus both for prelims as well as mains examinations, because it is in regards to the surrogacy. Child adoption process is linked with the surrogacy bill. Therefore, the surrogacy bill also should be focused for prelims as well as mains perspective. This is in regards to protecting the women and children, and thereby in regards to the child adoption process, an NGO called as Yathartha Foundation has filed a petition in the Delhi High Court, and it is seeking that there should be simplification of the child adoption process. Why the NGO is seeking a simplification of the child adoption process? Because it says that the child adoption process is lengthy, cumbersome adoption process, and this is the one which is creating a problem, or certainly providing a sense or giving rights to the grey market for adoption. So the NGO has made it very clear that the grey market for adoption is rising because of the lengthy and cumbersome adoption procedures of the Central Adoption Research Authority, and thereby it is seeking for simplification of child adoption process to overcome the grey market, or to gradually eliminate the grey market for adoption processes. And the NGO has provided information as per the Central Adoption Research Authority website that there are around 30,000 couples who have registered for adoption, that is child adoption process, but only 2,989 children are available, and thereby this gap of the couples who have registered and the children who are available with the Central Adoption Research Authority is providing or is giving rights to the grey market for adoption. And the bench with Chief Justice D.N. Patel and Justice Jasmeet Singh have issued notice based on the petition which is filed by the NGO, which was seeking simplification of the adoption procedures, to the Ministry of Women and Child Development. As the bench has issued notice to even Delhi government, has issued notice to National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, and also issued notice to Central Adoption Research Authority that they would come up with an affidavit or give explanation to the Delhi High Court that what is the NGO seeking simplification of the adoption process, because it is lengthy and cumbersome, and thereby because it is lengthy and cumbersome, there is a provision which is giving rise to the grey market in adoption. And if you look at the hotspot for middlemen, because of the lengthy and the cumbersome legal procedures, there is a grey market which is emerging, and this is creating a hotspot for middlemen, and that is what the NGOs have petitioned in the Delhi High Court. And the one who was representing the NGO is the senior advocate Salman Khurshid, who have told the Delhi High Court that the IVF, that is in vitro fertility and surrogacy centers, have become the hotspot for middlemen. This is the crucial key phrase that you need to focus in regards to the surrogacy. The IVF and surrogacy centers have become a hotspot for middlemen, and this IVF and surrogacy centers are misguiding the childless couple to adopt a convenient and quick method of adoption instead of following the lengthy and cumbersome legal procedures, and thereby definitely there is an hotspot for middlemen because of the lengthy and cumbersome legal procedures which wherein IVF and the surrogacy centers are misguiding the childless couples to go ahead with or to get into the mode of the convenient and quick method of adoption. And this is what was represented by NGO and has been told to the court that there is a need for simplification of the adoption procedures. And the NGO has also claimed in the petition that the children who have been adopted through the middlemen, that is IVF and surrogacy centers, are usually victims of kidnapping, trafficking, and the children who have been given away by the biological parents for the sake of money. And this is the information which we need to focus for the prelims as well as mains examinations, because we need to look at here the keywords, that is Central Adoption Research Authority and the Ministry of Women and Child Development, National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, and Central Adoption Research Authority, and also the Surrogacy Bill. And now we will look at what is Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2020, and this is the additional information which I am providing so that you will have a thorough understanding about the news which has been in the newspaper, and then linking it with how best we can try to make sure that we are adopting to the prelims and mains UPSC perspective. And now we will look at the meaning of surrogacy or surrogate. What does this surrogacy means? That means a woman who is bearing a child for a couple, for the couple who are unable to produce children, which could be in a normal usual way or a biological way, because the couple who are unable to produce children could be because the wife or the mother who would wish to become is infertile, otherwise unable to undergo pregnancy. And because when the situation or when the wife is infertile or unable to undergo pregnancy, there would be another woman who would come forward to bear a child for the couple who are childless couple, and this is called as surrogate motherhood or surrogacy. And now we will look at the Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2020, and this Surrogacy Regulation Bill is established in India by the national board at the central level and state boards and appropriate authorities in the states and union territories. So that means the national board, state boards and appropriate authorities would be regulating the surrogacy in India at the central level, state level and union territories. And the surrogacy, commercial surrogacy, is prohibited in India, which would include sale and purchase of human embryos as per Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2020. And this bill, it provides for ethical surrogacy to Indian married couple, Indian origin married couple, Indian single women who is only widow or divorcee, and this will be allowed on all the fulfillment of conditions by the adoption procedures. And this bill also will control unethical practices in surrogacy, and it will prevent commercialization of surrogacy, and it will also prohibit potential exploitation of both the surrogate mothers and the children who are born through surrogacy. And this is the importance of Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2020, because there was huge demand of Indian women or Indian surrogate mothers, wherein the foreigners or foreign childless couple would wish to come to India and then would wish a surrogate mother, Indian surrogate mother, so that they would bear a child. And it was going ahead with a huge commercialization of surrogacy, and that is why Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2020 has come into existence to make sure that there would be ethical surrogacy and there would be preventing commercialization of surrogacy. And that was to make sure that they would be prohibiting the exploitation of surrogate mothers and also the children born through surrogacy. And this is the information which is in the news because the NGO Yataratha Foundation has approached the Delhi High Court so that there should be simplification of the child adoption process, because this is giving rise to a grey market for adoption, as it is having a lengthy and cumbersome adoption procedures. And there is another news which talks about winter pollution. This is a keyword. And as per the Center for Science and Environment, which is a non-governmental organization, it says that the winter pollution is on the rise. And it says that the PM 2.5, that is particulate matter 2.5, which is the very dangerous one, is certainly now worsening, or the level of the PM 2.5 is increasing, and that is seen as per the Center for Science and Environment in 99 cities. Out of 99 cities, 43 cities have been worsened because of the winter air in 2020 when compared with the year 2019. And the Center for Science and Environment has said that only 19 registered substantial improvement has taken place in the cities, and that is one of them. Among the 19 registered cities are the Chennai, which has been a substantial improvement in the winter pollution, and the rest of the cities did not experience any kind of significant change, or there was not any kind of situation which was improvement in the winter pollution. And the Center for Science and Environment has also brought in that aftermath of the lockdown in India because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, various cities have reported improved winter pollution or pollution levels. But as soon as the winter has arrived, there was again the pollution levels have been risen back to the pre-COVID-19 levels. That means the Center for Science and Environment is making it very clear with its report that the PM 2.5 is increasing now, or it has increased by the winter season, and thereby winter pollution is on the rise. And many of the cities with the worst pollution spikes in 2020 include Gurugram, Lucknow, Jaipur, Visakhapatnam, Agra, Navi Mumbai and Jodhpur. And along the cities which have been experienced the worst pollution spikes in 2020 in India, it is Kolkata, which is the only mega city which is the worst pollution spikes in 2020 in India. And if you look at the seasonal averages and seasonal peak pollutions among the 37 cities, there is a stable or declining in the seasonal averages. But if you look at the seasonal peak pollution levels, it has risen during the winter. This is very important. The average seasonal averages have been declining or stable in 37 cities. But if you look at in the 37 cities during the winter, the seasonal peak pollution levels have been risen. And if you look at this or compare with the 37 cities with the seasonal averages or seasonal peak pollutions, especially during winter, it is almost vice versa or reverse when compared with the North India and including the Delhi, because it has experienced a reverse situation of seasonal averages and seasonal peak pollutions when compared with North India with the other 37 cities. That means there is increase in seasonal averages in Northern India and Delhi, but there is decline in the seasonal peak, which is reverse of or to the 37 cities, because there is decline or stable of the seasonal averages. But in North India or Delhi, there is increase in the seasonal averages, while there is rise in the seasonal peak in 37 cities during winter. But in North India or Delhi, there is a decline in the seasonal peak pollution. And this is what the Center for Science and Environment, a non-government organization, has particularly looked at the levels of PM 2.5, which is threatening. And it says that why the seasonal peak during winter is rising in 37 cities is because during winters there is cool and calm weather which can trap and spike the daily pollution, and particularly in northern Indian cities which are located in Indo-Gangetic plains, there is a necessity that there is an increase in the winter pollution. And this is as per the environment, or linking environment pollution with health. So you can focus this and then have or take a note from the Center for Science and Environment, which has spoken about the winter pollution which is on the rise. And there is another news which talks about that US is seeking to rejoin United Nations Human Rights Council. And in turn, the Secretary of State Antony Blinken of US has announced that US will now is ready to seek re-elections to the UNHRC for the year 2022 to 2024 term. And in turn, the US is now at a very modest and humble, it's asking for the support of the other UN member states. And when we look at why this US or the Secretary of State Antony Blinken is announcing that it wanted to go ahead with seeking a re-election, because while or during the former President Donald Trump administration, US has pulled out, or it was out of the United Nations Human Rights Council in the year 2018. This is the crucial information for prelims and also the analysis, conceptual understanding about why US is now seeking to rejoin UNHRC, because during the Donald Trump administration in the year 2018, US has pulled out of the United Nations Human Rights Council, and now the US administration would wish to go ahead with seek the re-election and rejoin the United Nations Human Rights Commission for the term 2022 to 2024. And the Joe Biden administration would now wish to reverse the pattern of retreat from multilateralism. This is the key phrase. Pattern of retreat from multilateralism is what the Joe Biden administration is trying to reverse, which the pattern of retreating from multilateralism was the characteristics of Trump regime, which the Joe Biden administration or the Secretary of State Antony Blinken is making it very clear that US would wish to come back to multilateralism, not to unilateralism, but from unilateralism what the Donald Trump administration has taken up during his presidency. Now they wanted to retreat to the pattern of multilateralism. And Secretary of State Blinken has acknowledged to the 47-member United Nations Human Rights Council that American democracy was imperfect and often fell short of its ideals. So here there is a strong message by Blinken, that is Secretary of State, which he has acknowledged that American democracy was imperfect and often fell short of ideals. And thereby, while addressing the 47-member council, the Secretary of State Mr. Blinken has said that now US was placing the human rights at the center of its foreign policy, and therefore as it wants the human rights to be at the forefront of its foreign policy or US foreign policy, it is now seeking to rejoin the United Nations Human Rights Council. And in turn, Blinken has alleged the council, that is UNHRC, that it was biased against Israel. And Blinken has also spoken about the challenges of racial justice in US and said that US is now, or Joe Biden administration is fighting for racial justice, which is now or which should be on the top of the global human rights agenda. This is the key phrase. As racial justice, there is a challenge in the US. The Joe Biden administration is fighting for racial justice, and he says that the Blinken says that, or the Secretary of State Mr. Blinken says that the racial justice or fight for racial justice should be on the top of the global human rights agenda, not the human rights at the United Nations Human Rights Council, but the global human rights agenda should fight for the racial justice. And United States does not claim that it is perfect, but it says that it would strive every day to improve and to hold US itself whenever it is accountable, and it wanted to be a more perfect union. That is why Blinken has said that America's democracy was imperfect and often fell short of its ideas, and thereby US would strive every day to improve and also hold itself accountable and to become more perfect union. And US has also called for Russia for unconditional release of Alex Navalny, who is now the opposition leader, who has been wrongfully detained. US on the human rights, calling for human rights or global human rights agenda. US is wanting Russia to release the dissident Alexei. And it also spoke about China, the way it is going ahead with fundamental freedoms are undermined in Hong Kong and also in the Xinjiang, and it is speaking at the universal values wherein there have been atrocities which have been committed in Xinjiang and also in Hong Kong. So it wanted to make sure that human rights or human rights globally have to be taken into consideration. And US also now is encouraging the United Nations Human Rights Council to support resolution on the issues in regards to the ongoing human rights violation in Syria, North Korea, and also in Sri Lanka along with South Sudan. So it has emphasized the importance of the United Nations Human Rights Council, that it addresses the issues which are concerned in regards to the atrocities, human rights violation, and also make sure that the countries are held responsible and accountable for the atrocities across Syria, North Korea, Sri Lanka, South Sudan, China, and Russia also. And US says that whoever is using economic development, this is the key word, the countries across the globe who are using the term economic development as a reason to undermine human rights will be held accountable. So here what you need to focus as a civil servant aspirants is that link the economic development versus human rights. This is very crucial. Link economic development with human rights or global human rights agenda. Please do understand, here it is very crucial analysis which we are going ahead now, that it is very important that you link the economic development with the human rights or global human rights agenda. How they are both directly linked, and whenever there is economic development which undermines the human rights, they should be held accountable. That is what US is talking about, and it wants the members of the United Nations Human Rights Council to support its membership or to rejoin re-elections to the UNHRC for the term of 2022 to 2024. And now we'll look at the question of the day, and the question for the mains examination is: the IVF and surrogacy centers have become the hotspot for middlemen. And this IVF and surrogacy centers are misguiding the childless couples by touting a convenient and quick method of adoption instead of a lengthy and cumbersome legal procedures. Analyze. And this in regards to the women and children, protecting the women and children, and also the commercial surrogacy, linking it with ethical surrogacy, and then Surrogacy Bill 2020. So please do try to answer this question so that you will certainly get into the mode of the writing practice for the mains examination, and you can score higher marks in mains. As well, have a thorough conceptual and then factual questions for prelims UPSC perspective. And I wish this session was informative, knowledgeable, and also very useful for mains as well as prelims perspective of UPSC. So I would say a very big thank you. Good luck to you all, and then do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule, and take care of your physical health and mental health. And do not forget to like the video, share the video, and also like the AKS IAS Academy English Medium YouTube channel, that is subscribe the channel, and also have access to the website and the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And see you again tomorrow with the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy, so that you can have the maximum benefit. And then till then, thank you, goodbye, and then take care.